Now the question is, why is my eye kinda red? Is it because I'm becoming a werewolf and I've decided to take it very slowly because I don't really want to go all the way into being a werewolf? Because what if I don't like it? Like, you're going to be really furry and it's probably going to be really hot, and I don't know. I don't want to have claws all that much, to be quite honest. So I'm kind of easing my way into it and just starting with the eyes, making them red and kind of evil. Uh, Possibility number two, I am so excited for all the esports, all of that esports action, that I just can't sleep. Or possibility number three, I have allergies and my eyes get irritated sometimes. Anyhow, hey folks, Studio here. What are we going to talk about today? What's it going to be? I'm thinking it's going to be Aframu and his Draven. Now, why Aframu and his Draven? Especially because I kind of already showed it off, because it's awesome. That's really it. Monomaniac Ferris, they're doing a lot lately. They took 2 TSM Invitationals in a row, which, it's not the biggest tournament in the world, I'll give it that, but it's pretty good. And they beat TSM. You know, they 2-0'd TSM pretty cleanly in the finals this past weekend. So I figured we could talk about this. And Aframu's Draven, it's very cool. It's not commonly seen. It's Draven. Who the hell plays Draven? We make League of Draven jokes. We make Draven everywhere. Put Draven's face on just about everything. It's funny, but we don't really see him get played. But let's talk about him. Let's talk about Draven. What the hell does he do? Like, do you know? I kind of know. Not really. Draven, he's so uncommon, most people don't really know what he does. So the signature move, his Q, spinning axe, he spins an axe, he throws it, it does extra damage, based off his total attack damage, 45 to 85%. And then if he catches the axe, he gets that axe again, and he can keep it up forever. It's a pretty good skill. It's not the most exciting skill, to say it like that, but it is his signature skill, and you really recognize it. Some people always make jokes about, like, well, if you know the axe is going to land, just put a skill shot there and they'll walk right into it. Now, what about his W? Well, his W, it makes him move faster. The move speed fades out over time, so it goes from 60% to 0% over the course of 3 seconds. This is to make it a really quick getaway at first, but not a high mobility skill. His E, stand aside, it knocks people to the side. It's okay. It's a good skill. It's not really a hard CC or a good kite, but it does knock people back very briefly. Now his ultimate, it's Ezreal ult, it goes out, but it comes back in. It's pretty cool, and I like it. But we don't really see him a whole lot, and it's because he doesn't have some of the skills that other AD carries have. Ezreal, for example, what does Ezreal have? He has a blink. What does Corki have? A dash, a flying dash, a Valkyrie, it's not really a dash, but it kind of is. I mean, it technically is a dash, but he's flying an airplane. Graves, he has the dash. So they have mobility. Ashe, has that kite potential. Varus, I'd say, is one who's kind of similar to Darius, where he has a decent amount of CC, but he doesn't really have an escape of his own. And Draven's CC is not that good. Or not CC, but escape. It's not that good. You move fast. That's good. That's a pretty decent escape right there. But Maokai can keep up with that. Those scary bruisers, I'm going to jump on you and punch you in the face and not stop till you're dead. They don't care about Draven's skills because they don't really stop them from getting to him. It's the damage they have to worry about. And that's kind of what he runs off of, doing a lot of damage. Now, I know what you're thinking. Most AD carries do a lot of damage. That's what they want to do. A lot of damage. Because that's what you do as an AD carry. Because if you're not doing a lot of damage, what the hell are you doing? Well, Draven's odd. He's kind of like Kog'Maw. Now, I mentioned the scaling of his Q. It's insane. 85% of your total attack damage extra per auto attack and the extra damage from his passive. That's insane. That is completely crazy. And that's really what he's based off of, getting decent pokes on in the early game with that Q. And later on, he's just going to man fight. He's just going to sit there attacking people, taking them down, not trying to escape, because he doesn't need to escape. He's Draven. He does need to escape right now, though, and this is Draven's W in action. He gets caught here, flashes, hits the W button, and look at him go. He's gone. He's gone. This doesn't work all the time, though, and it worked right there because there wasn't any CC coming out from TSM. Now, important things to note is that KX also uses Flash and his Ignite, so Ignite is down. Dyrus also uses Ignite, so shame on you, TSM. And Reggie, Oh, TSM. Using all your ignites on one person. That's not right. But the flash is down in the bot lane for both AD carries. Afremu still has his ignite though, so Afro actually came out significantly ahead in that exchange because he blew so many summoners and only blew one himself. Pretty good trade, pretty good trade. Now, what's he gonna do in lane? Well, first of all, he doesn't have 80 runes. He's got armor penetration. Actually, I saw his lifesteal. I thought it was 10%. Like, what the hell? He also has lifesteal runes? I don't know how he did that. The reason he has armor penetration is because Draven does a lot of physical damage, and he's got some decent base damage. For example, his ultimate is 175, but it goes both ways, so it's got a decent base. And even though it scales well, he knows he's going to get very high AD very quickly because of the spinning axe. So the problem isn't so much, does he need to get that number big? No, that number is going to get big on its own. He needs to make sure he has armor penetration to make that number bigger in the end. It's a situation where he knows he'll be doing so much AD damage at once, armor pen will be more viable. It varies between the characters. I think there's been a lot of math done, but I've never seen both math and a good argument combined for this. So if you want to be the first person to do the math and figure out who you actually want to build what on, and then actually make a good argument, go for it. But right now, after move, what can he really do in lane? Nothing, because he doesn't have his Q yet. But the laning for Draven is defined by using Spinning Axe for pokes. And the reason is, it's decent damage, even though you're not getting the full percentage of the Spinning Axe at level 1, you still get the passive, you still get decent pokes. So Chaos, if he does get hit, you will take a decent chunk of damage. He got hit once, he takes 100 damage. I mean, that did require the dot to go off, but that's still pretty good. X Special, kind of a similar position. So it really doesn't take a lot for Draven to get decent poke out and to get it out very quickly. The big thing is, if you can keep catching those axes and keep getting harass off, you're going to be very effective. Right now, though, he's playing relatively calm. He knows he still has his ignite up over Chaos, and there's a fight that's about to burst out. So Afremo is looking for just harass, and this is what he kind of does. You transfer harass into a kill. And this fight actually goes really, really badly for Afremo. He was taken down low because he was focusing X Special. The exhaust comes out earlier from Muffin Cutie though, and that's what lets Chaos die before Afremo, but they still kill each other. And the truth is, Draven's level 1 and level 2 aren't that good. And this threw me off at first. People are very scared because you get hit by Draven, you take a lot of damage from that 1Q. But think about it this way, Chaos was Ezreal, he was right next to him. If that Essence Flux landed, for example, that attack speed debuff is going to be huge, but just his Mystic Shot, that's an extra auto attack. An extra auto attack plus 35 damage, and it comes out fairly quickly and fairly often. So, Draven doesn't have that. Oops. Draven doesn't have that, and because he doesn't have that burst, his auto attacks are scarier, but that's all he's got. And okay, scary auto attacks are pretty good, but can they compare to someone like Ezreal, who will also have that big old bunch of attack speed to make him attack super fast and have a really scary burst combo? And sometimes yes, sometimes no. In that case, it was a no. But the exhaust in the end balanced it out. Had Muffin Cutie gotten into range to exhaust a half second earlier, that would have been a kill for Chaos and Afremo, and it might have been a kill on the Muffin Cutie afterwards. But Afremo, they're looking for that higher level fight. They're looking for more experience, more farm. Really, when Draven gets scary, especially the way Afremo's built him, it's going to be once he has that first BF sword, that first big item to really take advantage of Spinning Axe. Now, he puts 1 point into every skill just for the use of it. Stand Aside is not a very good skill to put points into. Like, in the end, what do you do with it? You slow people a bit, and you knock them to the side. You need to do more damage before that. You need to do a lot more damage. His W is also awesome, Blood Rush, because it's movement speed and attack speed, and that's going to be the crux of your fighting, having really good movement speed and attack speed. So keeping Blood Rush up and putting points into it after Spinning Axe is going to be a lot more beneficial, especially because, well, you're going to use all that mana on Blood Rush anyways. Might as well make sure it's awesome. Now, they both want 1 for 1. What are they going to do now? Chaos has his Ignite up, so they have to be cautious about that. And this is the point in the game where you have to be really careful, especially against someone like Sona. Because the AD carry, if they know they have a summoner up on you, especially something like Ignite, they can exploit it fairly easily. And AD carry fights, they're very quick. Like, even early on where they don't have that much damage, they still have very good kill potential. And because they're squishy characters in general, it doesn't take a lot for one carry just to see a small opening and take them out. Like, have you ever seen a late game fight where an AD carry gets 3 auto attacks off and kills another one? Stuff like this happens here. In this case, well, what happened? The burst combo came out from Special, Chaos landed his Mystic Shot, and that was the end of Aftermove, especially with that Ignite tossed in there. And that's what you gotta watch out for in these lanes. It doesn't take a lot for that burst to come out, and that burst is surprisingly high. So Ezreal, he's got 3 points in Essence Flux, so that's 160 damage, plus Mystic Shot, that's an extra 130, so that's 300 damage, plus 80 from Arcane Shift, 380 damage, plus his auto attack at 108. That's a lot of damage, and it comes out quickly and it comes out fast. And that's what you gotta watch out for. That's what you gotta remember. Damage comes very quickly, even if the numbers individually aren't big. They combine so much that you die fast in this bot lane. Actually, Sona, people always ignore her aura, but an extra 12 damage is pretty insane. She is level 5, so there are points into Hymn of Valor. But that's why Aftermoon just can't stand up to Chaos right now. He's down 20 AD when Sona has her Q up. And that's a big problem. That's a very big problem. It's actually down a little bit more than 20 AD. But Aftermoon, he's not going to give up now. He's having a good time. He's having a ball. And this is what you do. If you die in the bot lane, what do you do afterwards? You farm, you farm, you farm, you farm. And you just keep farming. Now, realize that this is kind of a problem that Janna has. Once that shield went off, he lost the extra damage. And that's how Chaos survived that fight. That's how Chaos was able to kill Aframu. If he had the damage from Muffin Cutie's shield, that would have been enough for that kill. And this is because Janna's gone through a lot of buffs. She's been broken, she's been great, she's been terrible, she's been everything. Right now she's in a very okay spot. The shield is hard to work with. But Aframu, when he has that shield up, he's going to do a tremendous amount of damage, over 200 damage with one auto attack because of Spinning Axe. With that extra dot, it's going to be 250. And if you can get auto attack pokes with Janna's shield on, that can actually turn the lane in their favor. But there is a lot of sustain coming out from X Special because he is playing Sona. And that is the weird interaction bot lane. So right now, after with that Janna's shield up, 77 damage, 136-ish auto attack damage because Janna's shield isn't level 9 yet. It's a lot of damage, but it's not obvious. And that's something important to remember about Draven. And I think TSM actually learned that this fight. They don't really know how obvious the damage is. Now, TSM, they do make some mistakes in this game. For example, this mistake. I find the entire setup hilarious. But now, with those ultimates down, Aframu and Muffin Cutie, they can go aggressive, they can go ham, they can go whatever you want to call it, because there's no real defense coming out from TSM. They do have the Ignite on KX, they do have escapes, but they don't have a good offensive escape. They don't have a good way to say, like, oh, you're going to fight us, we'll just kill you in response. Unless Odd1 shows up in that lane, but he does get spotted by a ward. So, KX right there, he gets his burst combo off, he gets all of his skills off. Aframu gets one auto attack, it does about half the damage that KX did to him. So, this is the point in the game where Draven really starts coming together. It's once he does start getting enough AD, he does start getting points into his Q. And Janna, she actually accelerates this quite a bit because now he's getting that early extra AD so quickly. Whoa, my mouse died. So, they actually went for a gank in the bot lane, it wasn't successful. But that doesn't really matter. When you hit the AD carry and a bot doesn't, or not a bot, but a gank doesn't work out bot, what do? You just keep farming, and you don't really worry about it. What could Aframu have done to really set up the gank? Not much. If you approach forward and you're doing something really weird, most people assume there's something funny going on and they'll back up. So that wouldn't have really worked. And he got some CS. Looking at CS, he's at 64, KX is at 67. He's maintaining it, and that's what you do. You just maintain your CS, keep farming, keep farming. It's okay. Make the big plays, look for those big openings, but don't sacrifice all the farm in the world to get just one auto attack of harass. That's something that I see a lot of people do. They focus quite a bit on being aggressive in lane, which is good. It's great. Be aggressive, be offensive, but don't sacrifice all your CS. Don't be 20 CS to 40 CS because you try to go for a kill, because if it doesn't work out, you're in a terrible spot. And this is why people call League of Legends passive. You can rely on certain things. One of those things you can rely on is gold from creeps. And if you don't kill those creeps, you fall behind. But this is kind of an odd situation with the bot lane because a lot can go wrong. Things can go amazingly well because guess what? You're an AD carry and you're getting backed up. Sometimes in the 2v2 though, things just don't work out. For example, X Special missing his ultimate, which led to Chaos missing his ultimate. That just happens in the 2v2 lane, and that's why people always play so passively down there, because the risk can be so huge. If things don't work out and you miss your farm and you're the AD carry, you're not getting anything. You don't want to enter late game like that. Now, Aftermoon, what's he looking forward to though? What's he looking before he changes how he plays? Because if you ever watch Aftermoon play Draven, there's one point in the game where he just goes completely insane, and then he gets like 10 kills in 5 minutes. I don't know how. It's magic. It's Draven wizardry. It's the BF sword. He has one Doran's Blade because he wasn't doing very well early on. Sometimes if he can, he'll just avoid that Doran's Blade. But the big purchase he makes is BF sword, and it really changes how he does damage. Because it's not just 50 or 45 damage. It's going to be an extra 40 with Spinning Axe. It's an item that really starts the Darius pain train, Draven pain train. God, I keep saying Darius because I see so many more Darii. Now, after Moo gets out of there, he just flashes, uses his W, and he escapes. A lot is blown, the flash is blown, but this is his time to shine now. He now has that BF sword, and you have to remember cooldowns. So, what was used there? Crescendo, which has a 140-second cooldown. Chaos's ultimate, which has a 76-second cooldown. And what's going to happen is, well, they're taking Dragon, yeah, but now Afromoo knows. He's got the BF sword, he's got that item that makes him feel confident and comfortable going for offensive plays, and they don't have big scary ultimates in that bot lane. He can go for kills now. Right now, Chaos is stronger. He has more CS, he has a kill, he has an assist to match up with Aftermoon's assist. He's ahead. And Aftermoon knows this, but he knows that when he does pick out that BF sword, when you have an advantage like the enemy not having ultimates, you can go crazy. You can win fights. And that's what he plans to do. That is his new goal, win fights because he has a big BF sword. But I've been doing math all along. How much damage does one auto attack do right now if it's Spinning Axe? So 107 plus 143, 260, plus that dot, how much is it going to be? 300 damage. Think about that. He does 300 damage with an auto attack. No one does that unless it's critting at this point in the game, and that is what makes Draven so scary, because he reaches this point very quickly where his auto attacks will do as much damage as all your skills combined, and all he has to do is catch that axe again, while you have to wait for your cooldowns and manage your mana a whole lot more. So Aftermoon knows this. Chaos, he doesn't actually know it himself, and we're going to see that in action. We're going to see Chaos not being fully aware of the damage coming out from Draven. Yeah, that was right. Cool. So they're just going for one-on-one pokes. Chaos lands his skill shots, but Aftermoo is landing his Spinning Axes, and he's able to go ahead and win the trade. Actually force Chaos to use his red potion, and despite using that red potion, which gives you 200 HP, they're still about equal. So now the fight keeps going on. Aftermoo turns onto X Special. X Special doesn't have his ultimate up. A good ult from Muffin Cutie heals Aftermoo during the entire fight. And then I love this fight because it threw me off guard. So just watch Chaos. Chaos is landing his skill shots. He did just get hit by Santa's side. He actually hits a creep with the Mystic Shot, and this lets Aftermoo pick him up. He's taking him so low. He's taking him so low. But the dot kills him. The dot from Aftermoo's passive. Now, a lot of that was skill from both sides. So whoa, mouse, you're freaking out tonight. So Aftermoo had a feeling he could win. He actually couldn't. The only reason he won that fight was because that minion was there, but that minion was there because he positioned himself behind it. And it's very important to remember just those little intricacies of how just any fight in League of Legends can work out. What really made that fight work? Like 5 different things. Also, I don't know what X Special was doing here. It was really funny though. I was casting this, and I really don't know why he was doing it. I think he was testing the limits of so I just want to say this actually. TSM, I'm not going to say they didn't try. TSM put on a great effort, but they were trying to learn for sure in this tournament. And doing stuff like, X Special going crazy like that, you can tell, it's a test. If he could get that kill, that'd be awesome. It's some gold picked up for his team, and Aftermoon will stop farming for a bit. So the question is, can Sona actually get that kill? The answer is no, but now X Special knows that. But back to Aftermoon. So just small intricacies really make these fights in the bot lane. There's obvious fights. For example, if you're Leona and Corki, and you land a full combo as Leona onto an AD carry, and they don't have any Janna shields or heals, you're probably going to kill them. It's what's going to happen most likely, even if Ezreal shifts away. But Aftermoon playing Draven versus Ezreal, it's harder to predict, and it shows. It shows because Chaos, he slips up a bit. Aftermoon, he himself slips up a bit. Both people are kind of in a different element, and it's part of it is because this isn't a common AD carry, and part of it is because Aftermoon's not in a situation where he wants to be in. Chaos, though, he's got to watch out. It doesn't take a lot for Aftermoon to win a trade war. So Chaos, once again, lands his skill shots, but Aftermoon comes out ahead in the harass war because he just does that much more damage. And I keep, talking about how much damage he does because it ramps up so quickly. So he finishes the Bloodthirster, he's doing 330 damage, with his Q per auto attack. And you'll notice not a lot has changed. Bloodthirster, yeah, he picked it up, he doesn't have any stacks on it. It's just the fact that he got the BF sword and that he got to level 9 and got level 5 spinning axe, that he's doing tons of damage right now. And that's something that astounds me as Draven. People always look at his early game. His early game's good. People don't really look at the fact that he doesn't get scary till mid game. And this is the point where his auto attacks are going to be so high, it's going to be hard to deal with. He chunks the siege minions. He can kill at that point. Yeah, it still had a few hundred points of HP left. Chaos, with his red potion, is having trouble dueling him. And when you get something like a red potion, a potion of endurance, you're making a gamble there because that's 250 gold you're not going to have. You better get a kill out of it. You better get something. And the fact is, right now, Aftermoon, despite that potion, he can out-TPS Chaos and probably out-tank him just because of how much damage is coming out. Plus, the lifesteal will also help quite a bit. But Chaos, he's looking for pokes. He's looking for, those little ins, little outs. And that's something that Ezreal does have over Draven. His poke is easier to land. It does have more range, and frankly, Mystic Shot is not that hard of a skill shot. So, what is Aftermoon doing at this point? He's looking for an opening where he can go for a kill. And this is because now he has a few stacks on his Bloodthirster. Now he's feeling confident. Odd One is there for the gank, but you'll notice that Aftermoon, they do have that vision ward in that brush. They do know whether someone's going to be coming for him or not. So this fight's a fun little bit from both sides. Xmithie kills a ward here, and the rest of TSM just hide. If I go to the right, my mouse just dies. It's weird. So what are they trying to do? Well, Xmithie's trying to find a time to go around and kill them. Alwyn's trying to bait them out because he knows when Xmithie leaves, Xmithie won't be there, and that's going to be the confidence. At this point, Alwyn's actually looking for the opening, except Xmithie shows up again to clear that ward. They're both looking for openings. But they saw the ward there, decided, you know what, it's not worth it to try and fight. We don't know where Alwyn is, let's just clear it out. Now, Aftermoon does actually walk into the brush. I like this little exchange. He just flashes and gets the hell out of there. He knows that if Odd One lands any sort of slow onto him, which he does have the red buff, if he can keep him locked down for, a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, that's going to be enough time for Chaos to show up on Ezreal and just kill him. So don't be afraid to burn your summoners. That's something a lot of people have trouble with. They'll save their summoners for a long time, forever, and in the end, it's just not worth it. Like, yeah, if you can save it and make use of it, go for it. But don't go ahead and just hold on to it and be like, man, I don't know if I should use it to survive this gank. Just use it. If you'll survive and make a lot happen with it, use it. If you won't survive, even when you use it, then don't use it. But if you think Flash will help you, don't be afraid to bust it out. But Aftermoon, his Flash is down. He does have Ignite up, he does have his ult up. Can he go for kills? The answer is yes. This was a fairly passive lane in the end. There were some early kills that did snowball for Chaos, but Aftermoon was able to farm up and just, be scary. Despite having a bit of a CS disadvantage, he actually takes that lead. Part of it is because Chaos slowly became scared, more scared, to actually try and 1v1 Aphromo. And the reason is, holy crap, Spinning Axe does a lot of damage. I keep mentioning this, but seriously, it's an extra 179 damage. Jesus Christ. That's a lot of damage. Dios mío. Dios mío. Now, what would a fight work out? Like, how does a fight work out between these two characters? Well, Aphromo tries to do that. He tries to go for a quick poke and then back off. Chaos right now, kind of the same thing, but he can be more long-ranged. And when Aphromo goes for a poke, he's going to go ahead and just blow all of his skills in response just to apply pressure, because Aphromo has a shorter range poke. So, let's watch this fight. Chaos takes a huge chunk of damage from that one auto attack. He does have more cooldowns though, and he thinks with a good burst combo, and especially X Special's ult, he should be able to pick up a kill. So Muffin Cutie, and Chaos get into a fight. Muffin Cutie actually gets CC'd as well as Aphromo. They're taken very low. Chaos flashes, anticipating the ultimate from Aphromo, and dodges it. At this point, Muffin Cutie uses his heal, and Chaos, taken down from 300 HP, dies. Wait for it, dies. And the truth is, why did that work out? Well, okay, Chaos has buttons to press. He has buttons he can spam. But if you watch what Aphromo does, he just gets one or a couple auto attacks in. And just look for one every time Aphromo gets an auto attack in this entire exchange. I know I'm showing it again, but those auto attacks hurt, and that's what he was focusing on. He knew that he could get hit by skills, but if he just caught an axe, had Spinning Axe up and he auto attacked Chaos once or twice, it would be worth the trade. So he gets one there. Count how many auto attacks he's. So he's hit him twice so far, 3 times. The Ignite comes out, and does he hit him a 4th time? Yes. So that was 4 auto attacks, a bit of damage coming out from Muffin Cutie as well, and that was enough to kill Chaos. And that is just how Draven works at this point in the game. He does a crap load of damage. He hits you really hard, and you can't stop him. You can't stop him. You can stop him. It's very possible to stop him, actually. You CC him. But as you can see, the problem what Chaos was having is that despite the CC, Ezreal just doesn't have that much damage. And this is what makes Draven very surprising. He's got this just point in the game where he does more damage. And normally you don't think about that as an AD carry. Normally you think of the items. It's like, what does Chaos have at that point? He has a Triforce and a Doran's Blade. How was he on gold? He was actually behind on gold on that point, but only by a little bit. But before that point, even when they were equal, Aphromo was really coming out ahead in those fights. He was really coming out in a much better spot. So what was happening was just he hit that sweet spot. He hit that spot where the Q got scary. Now he's got 4 kills. Now he's got a lot of damage. He's got the Zeal. He's got close to a Phantom Dancer. And how is Chaos going to deal with it? And the answer is you really don't. You don't have to beat the AD carry you're laning against. Sometimes you want to. You really want to, because like you're a Draven versus a Kog'Maw. You want the Kog'Maw not to get any farm. But if you can't do anything to the other enemy AD carry, just go ahead and farm. Now, that was 3 auto attacks. 2 on X Special, 1 to Chaos. X Special's not at half HP, Chaos is at about 1/5. Or 4/5. It's like 1/5, that's a lot of damage for one Spinning Axe. And Aphromo knows this, and he knows this is his time to pressure. It all works out very well. Because, once again, to do some math, actually, screw the math. The reason Bloodthirster is amazing on this is because he gets a lot of armor penetration, so the high damage value works out for him. Very importantly, Spinning Axe, it works with lifesteal. That's why he gets so much back every time he auto attacks, because it's the bonus damage also healing him up. So when he duels, every time he lands a 400 damage chunk, it's going to be an extra 100 damage being healed on himself. He knows this, and he's going to abuse it. Now, we will be seeing why Draven has problems later on in this match. But there you go, 433 crit with Spinning Axe. It's actually not a very high crit given the circumstances, but it's still a lot of damage coming out very quickly. At this point, Mandatory Cloud just show up in the bot lane. He's able to go ahead and just kill X Special. Aphromo kind of helps, but that's just one of the situations. When the AP mid goes down, and you have a jungle Udyr, they're probably not going to be able to save the support. Now, something important to remember, people, when you go for a gank in the bot lane and you kill the support, realize that doesn't matter so much unless you're also denying farm on the AD carry. So in this case, Chaos has to run away. The rest of Ferris, they're here, they're killing the turret, they're getting something out of it. and they're going to push up. So Chaos, he's got so much denied farm that they do get an objective, and really you have to make sure that when you do kill the support, something is coming out of it. I mean, if you kill Chaos 10 times and he's not worth any gold, it doesn't really matter that you kill him so much, because he's going to be Sona, he's going to have that gold, and he's going to be in a fine position. At this point, TSM is up, or is behind by a decent chunk, behind by about 4,000 gold. So Aftermoo, he's confident. He's got a red potion for survival. Now, really quickly, these Elixir of Fortitudes, they've been coming out from both sides. Why is it? Why are they picking up Elixir of Fortitude? Because it's essentially an extra heal. You toss it on yourself, congratulations, you've got an extra 140 to 235 HP. Now, it's not as good as heal, it's a lower value, but it's not affected by Ignite. It used to be the strategy, actually, by an Elixir of Fortitude at level 1, use it as a heal if the enemy got too offensive. And it's a way to stay alive. The 10 extra attack damage is nice, but the important thing is you can bait people out, you have a portable heal you buy for 250 gold. Excuse me? Oh, I hate that feeling where you feel like you're going to sneeze, but it just doesn't come out. Now, what is the problem that Draven has? Well, I mentioned before, he's very frontline. So that exchange right here, he takes Reginald very low, but Reginald takes Aftermoo down to half HP with 1 auto attack and 1 blinding dart. So they're both able to exchange an amazing amount of damage, but they're both taken very low. I thought the sneeze was coming. I was so excited for a sec. Now, I love this fight. This is just a very good Baron from Ferris. They're able to do it early because they're ahead. But Aftermoo's a very close range person. He's only got 550 range. He doesn't have any range poke besides his ultimate and a bit of stand aside. So when he does get into a fight, if there's someone who can assassinate him, it's not hard to assassinate him. He does have a lot of damage. He can't survive just because of his lifesteal, but that's not reliable. So every time in these fights, you got to watch how Aftermoo and Reginald interact. Reginald is playing AP Teemo, so it's a lot of bursts. It's quite a bit of damage coming out very quickly. 550 on his blinding dart, and then a crap load on toxic shot, which will be more effective with a dot. So Aftermoo's got to watch out for Reginald, and if Reginald does land a mushroom, does land a blinding dart and auto attack, we saw he was already taken down to half HP. If a mushroom had hit him too, that might have been death. And that's just the problem Draven has. You don't have options when it comes to doing damage. Varus, it's kind of the same thing. You have to get auto attacks to really put out the DPS. Other characters, not so much. So Reggie, he actually goes for Muffin Cutie there, but had they gotten into a fight and Aftermoo was blinded, he would have had nothing. But think of the other AD carries. Graves has Buckshot, has AoE, has his ultimate. Ezreal has Mystic Shot, has his W, has his ultimate. Corki has his ultimate being spammed, and just all of his magic spells. Like, everybody else has choices. And when you're someone like Draven who doesn't have choice for doing auto attacks, you've got to be cautious. Tristana's kind of the same position, but she does have higher range. So the mushroom hits him, he gets poked a little bit by Chaos, and he's down to half HP. And this is why Aftermoo has to be cautious, and this is why positioning becomes such an important thing. So he's able to heal himself very quickly. Red buff takes him almost back to full HP. But if he's in that fight and he's getting focused, if an Ignite lands on him or a Blinding Dart, he's not going to heal enough and he will die very quickly. And that's what he has to watch out for. That's what he knows can't happen. And TSM, they know they have to do it. If TSM don't kill Aftermoo quickly, they're in a bad spot. Mandatory Cloud's also a very big threat, so it's a pretty good game. And that's kind of how Draven works. In team fights, he's part of a front line of threats. Vayne works in a similar way too, where you don't necessarily have to have a lot of protection for Draven. You just need to make sure everybody is scary, because he will do so much damage that you just have to all kind of group up. Now Reginald, he fights Aftermoo. Does he win? Well, he takes him down to about a quarter HP. If that satellite does hit him, that would be a kill. Reggie, he wants to kill Aftermoo. He doesn't in the end, and that is the problem with Teemo. If he doesn't actually get that kill, he really falls behind. But Aphromoo, he's looking like he's not actually in a good spot to fight Teemo right now, taking down 240 HP. So that was one mushroom, the DFG, the Toxic Shot and Blinding Dart, and Aphromoo almost died from that. So that was essentially the burst combo from Teemo. The one advantage Aphromoo has is it's not reliable, but other characters, like for example Morgana, they will kill you. They will murder you. So at this point, Aphromoo, they're trying to pick off the odd one. He was out of position himself, and they do catch him. But Dyrus is kind of in the same spot. He knows he can burst down Aphromoo, but he's scared too. He's scared that if he dies in exchange, it won't be worth it because he can push down turrets, possibly get an inhibitor out of it. And that's what you got to watch out for as an AD carry, especially someone like Draven. They're going to gun for you. And you want to go ahead, you want to bait them out. Like when you see them gunning for you, you want them to make bad decisions, to question themselves as they gun for you. But if you overdo it, they'll actually catch you, and you might die in response. If you underdo it, well, coming in late is great, but what if they kill your team in the meantime? What if they're not wasting time? Or what if someone just comes, like what if they hide and try to catch you? So you have to kind of present yourself as an option, but in the end you want to make sure you're a bad option. If you can stay super safe from the far back, that's great, but Draven really can't. So one good combo from Teemo will be enough to kill Aphromoo. They know this. So this fight starts. This is a very interesting fight for me. Because watch the Aphromoo. DFG, Blind Dart, Toxic Shot, and he dies. He also got auto attacked by KX a bit. And that's it. He's out of the fight. Now Reggie does put himself in a terrible position to do so, but this shows the big problem. He's in range. He's going to always be in range. Teemo does have 500 attack range, yes, but Blinding Dart has a longer range, and so does DFG. So Teemo will always be at a risk to Draven. And just think of all the times you've played, you've played an AD carry, you've played a role like this. One of the worst feelings is when you're in a good spot when you have a lot of items. In this case, he's got a lot of items. He now has a Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, and working on Infinity Edge, and he's not that far off. But when you have so many items, but you can still be killed so easily, and not part of it is just the character itself, it doesn't feel good. And that's a big deterrent people have from Draven. You have to man up. You have to just go ahead and say, well, I can die very quickly and very easily, but luckily, if I'm just scary enough with the rest of my team, we'll be okay. I don't need to be defensive, because if I'm just too terrifying, if I'm doing too much burst, it's almost the same thing. Now, what's his plan going to be to survive Teemo? There are different options, and it's going to vary, of course, depending on what you're fighting against. So Teemo, he has a lot of sustained damage. If you want to, he could go for a QSS. Once that Blinding Dart, Toxic Shot, or even the Mushroom itself lands, just press it and he'll be safe. I think canceling that Blind Dart would be a huge deal, because that's a long time you can't auto attack. Blind Dart, by the way, it's a very underestimated skill for that. It's a 2.5 second CC on AD carries like Draven. They don't do damage when it's up, and that's something you got to be very scared about, not doing damage, because everybody wants to do damage, man. Everybody wants it. But Aphromoo, he's that big frontliner, and this fight starts. What does he do? Gets one auto attack onto KX and lets Buffy Cutie get the kill. And now he's being more cautious. He sees where Reggie is. He's trying not to move too far forward. He's attacking the closest target. And that's what you have to do as an AD carry. You can't just die to the squishies. You have to go ahead and spend time to focus someone like the odd one who's trying to zone you out. He does get hit by a mushroom, though. He does get hit by Jace's Q, and he's taken incredibly low, as well as his clone. So Reggie actually flashes for the kill. Does he pick it up? He does. But there was an ultimate on. It was Yorick Ghost. And this is something really awesome for somebody like Draven. If you have the Yorick Ghost, it means you can die, but you'll come back and still do tremendous amounts of damage. So this is a very good use of Yorick, just because it gives him a really good option. He does die in the end, but you know what? That was a very one team fight. 2 for 4 at the moment. Will it be 2 for 5? Yes. And that's something unfortunate to say. Being a good AD carry is not always just dependent on yourself. Sometimes you got to rely on your team. Sometimes you need Yorick to back you up. Sometimes you need you to casting Blood Bowl on you, or Janice shielding you. And that's something like you can't work on your own. And if you're in solo queue, Well, if you don't have any of those characters, if the Nunu himself isn't speeding you up, it's gonna suck and it's gonna hurt. But you gotta get by with it. And I love the Yorick pick because it's a good solution to having a frontliner like Draven. It's a good alternate. You can survive, you can do DPS. It's cool because you die, and when you die, it's a-okay because you're back anyways. Zillion can also work, but he's got a zillion problems. Oh, no, it's just he's not the most dominant person late game. But Aphromoo, he knows to look out for Reginald now. We saw we played that last time. He did move forward. He did get caught up by Reggie, but it was a flash, and it cost Reggie his life. So that is the positioning Aphromoo wants to have. He's not going to be too far in front. He's going to be far more in the back. Like right here, for example, trying to hit Reggie from over the wall, just because he knows it's safer. So watch the Aphromoo. Watch how into it he gets now. You'll notice he spends a lot of time not going into the fight just to be safe. And it's because he knows that he doesn't have to be in the fight very long to turn it. But when he does go in, he can't just immediately get picked off by Reggie, who does die. And once Reggie dies, Aphromoo just completely goes nuts. He's like, now is the time for them to die, because I am Draven. But he says that in the Draven voice. And really, the team was very far ahead of TSM at this point. I mean, right now, Aphromoo is super far ahead, but overall, they were in a more dominant position. So that's why he can be a bit more cautious. That's why he can be a bit more scared of the enemy team, because he doesn't need his damage there necessarily, because the enemy team just is so far behind. Now, let me just get rid of that 1x or half X speed. Let's go to 2x for Baron. So what is the playstyle that Aphromoo has right now? It's, you know, kind of just rushing in, being super aggressive, but if he knows there's a big threat, being calm until he can recognize where it's at, if it's alive or not, and just deal with it. You know, if someone like KX, for example, is caught out, just whatever, screw it, go after him. But in general, he's going to be very offensive when he knows there's no scary burst caster. And this is important to remember. If there's someone who's just killing you nonstop and you're playing an AD carry, then be out of their range. If they're Nocturne, okay, it's harder. But in this case, it is going to be Reginald on Teemo. It's going to be Dyrus on Jace. If they get to him, he knows he's going to be in trouble. So what does he do? He just stays out of range. And he's going to be attacking whoever's closest to him. And that's how he's going to go through the fights. He's going to look for the auto one. He's just going to auto attack him down, get kills with Spinning Axe. And it'll be fine. Now, why is that fine? Instead of going ahead and going for the AD carry? Because when you go for a squishy target, if you have to put yourself out of position to reach them, you're probably going to suffer and die and not accomplish a whole lot with that. This is only really true of AD carry. Sometimes it is true for other characters, like you might need to peel instead of dive as a bruiser. But in the case of Draven, what do? Well, you see who's scary, and then you see where they are, and when they're dead, you fight like a maniac. When they're alive, you survive. And that is, I'd say, something a lot of people don't know about AD carries. You can attack tanks. It's okay. It's okay. Your tank will probably get attacked too. It's okay to attack them, because if you don't attack them, you probably die. Now Afro, though, he's got QSS. He can go ahead, cleanse the Blinding Dart, cleanse Reginald, and the initiation from MTW has been from Monomaniac. Dang, has been so solid that he doesn't necessarily need the Guardian Angel. He's never going to be so far out of position that when he respawns, he'll die. And he doesn't really want to die in the first place, which could definitely help that he has a QSS, because it just removes all of Teemo's damage. Now, the Baron's about to respawn. This time, Monomaniac wants to pick it up themselves, and that's what they're going to do. They're just going to try and get the Smite Steal off. This is a good situation to be in. When you're far enough ahead that you can go for Baron, and if the enemy team tries to stop you, if Odd1 flashes over that wall and actually gets the spine off but dies in response, it's okay. They can win 5v4. They can end the game 5v4 at this point. Now, the fight's about to start. Baron dies. It does go to Monomaniac. Watch the Aphromoo. Who does he go for? Well, he sees where Reginald is, so he uses his ultimate, backs off, and just focuses the Odd1 down. Because going for anybody else would be risky. Reginald actually tries to put a bit of damage onto him, but he's low on mana, and the QSS would protect them from anything long term. So they pick up Yawen, they pick up Dyrus, they pick up X Special. This is the end of the game. What you gonna do after him? What you gonna do? You're gonna kill everybody. This was a fun little game. The funny thing is, Monomaniac beat TSM harder later in the day. Actually, the game after that, TSM got trashed. But that's it for this game. Now, what the hell did Aftermoon do on Draven? Early on, he'd use his spinning axe for poke. Very brief, very quick, very get in, get out. It wasn't necessarily as good as a real skill set early on in the game, but he knew that eventually it was going to be worth it. Eventually he would do more damage. Eventually he'd be able to poke him down. And early on what really mattered was that he would get a poke off without trying to take too much harassment response. When he did go for those full-out kills early on, they didn't really work out that well. They did pick up Chaos, yes, but he died in response, and Chaos didn't even have Ignite then. So when you're playing Draven, you got to find that power curve. That power curve, in Aftermoon's perspective, is when he gets that BF sword. When he gets that first big item. Now, really quickly, logo. Also, my housemate's watering the lawn, so I want to end this before that noise gets in. That's a spawn room. If you go to the spawn room, they're trying to go ahead and do a database of a lot of esports stuff. Looking up important figures. I know they have a lot of StarCraft stuff right there right now. So their example on the front page is Stefano. But Spawn Room, they're trying to build a database. They actually have a new series coming out, trying to explain a lot of basic new mechanics to a lot of various games like League of Legends. So go ahead, check out Spawn Room. And yeah, that's it for today's daily. One quick announcement is I should be doing the 24-hour stream probably this week, actually, probably Thursday. I'm just gonna say Thursday now. I'll make a video just announcing it for sure when I totally get that time down. But I think it's just be Thursday to Friday, then cast over the weekend. Then after that, it's Worlds. Worlds is gonna be pretty cool. I'm gonna be at Worlds, so say hi if you're there. But yeah, adios, folks.